What is up everybody, I'm hoping you're all well, and look at that, I'm back once again with a brand new movie review just for you guys. As I mentioned in my last video, I went to go see two movies yesterday, one of those being The Conjuring 3 and Spiral. And straight away I have to say how great it was to be back in a cinema watching a movie on the big screen. It just felt right, it felt perfect, I missed that. And what a great movie to start the experience off with the third entry into the Conjuring franchise. But did it live up to the hype? Well, that's what we're here to talk about, guys. So without any further delay, let's talk about it. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. So The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It is the third chapter in the Conjuring franchise, but it's also the however many numbers of movies the Conjuring universe is on now? Eight. I think it's 8. Is it 8? I'm pretty sure it's 8. As a whole, the Conjuring universe has had a few hits and misses in their movies, but the Conjuring movies themselves have never failed to be entertaining, terrifying, and just damn right great cinema experiences. Great horror experiences to see on the big screen. But this is the first movie in the franchise to not be directed by James Wan, as instead being directed by the guy who directed The Curse of La Llorona, which I think we can all agree was a little bit shit. I believe the guy's name is Michael Chavs. I'm terrible with names, guys, as you well know, or any new people here. I can't pronounce names properly because I'm an idiot. But I believe his name is Michael Chavs. I'll say Chavs for now. He was the same guy who directed Curse of La Llorona. Again, a little bit shit. And so hearing that, I was a little bit skeptical when going into this movie. Not only is James Wan one of the best horror filmmakers working in the industry today, along with Mike Flanagan and David F. Sandberg, all of which who have gone on to do great things both in horror and also in big blockbuster movies. But James Wan just knows horror so well, and so when it was said that he wasn't going to be returning to direct this film, I was a little bit on edge. Even though he was credited for doing the story for this movie, he didn't do the full screenplay, and he was on as an executive producer, I believe. It's still a scary thing getting a director that you really love from the previous two movies and getting a new person in, and that also puts a lot of pressure onto the new guy who has to live up to the previous films as well, whilst also making this new movie his own, putting his own personal stamp on the film, but also progressing the story more and not forgetting where it came from. And to be honest, I didn't find the direction for this movie that bad. I thought Michael Chavs, however you pronounce his name, I thought he did a very good job behind the camera with this film. There were a few moments in the movie where it seemed he was trying to replicate or at least pay homage to James Wan's directorial style in the previous films, or from the previous films. I can't talk, I don't English well, guys, I don't word good. But from a directing standpoint, I didn't mind it at all. I thought he did a pretty good job. Now, the basic plot of this movie follows Ed and Lorraine Warren, as usual, helping out a family in need during a demonic possession. However, unlike the other movies, it's not just a straight up demonic possession. Without spoiling too much about the film, this movie does delve into a lot about the occult. They explore demonic rituals and dark spells, and the way Ed and Lorraine fucking Jesus Christ, I can't say their names. And the way Ed and Lorraine And the way Ed and Lorraine Warren were working things out, it felt very much like a mystery caper, like they were trying to solve a crime that was going on. I mean, admittedly, there is some sort of crime that they are trying to solve and prove the existence of demonic possession. But I really liked that unique take on it. It kept me engaged, it kept me invested in the story. I wanted to see how this movie was going to play out and how the characters were going to come on top at the end. Having said that though, I feel like this movie felt more like a suspense thriller rather than a straight up horror, unlike the previous movies. As I mentioned, the build up towards the scares in this movie was very well done. The tension building in this movie was great. However, the payoff wasn't always there in my opinion. I didn't feel like this was the scariest movie in the franchise. In terms of scares, I actually find it the weakest in the franchise. Or in the Conjuring trilogy, like the whole trilogy, this is definitely the weakest film of the three. Does that make it a bad movie though? No, I honestly don't think it does. There are some genuinely great characters in this movie. As always, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren were absolutely fantastic. Their chemistry together is incredible. It's absolutely flawless. You buy into their relationship. You really feel the love between these two characters. They're very respectful of their performances over the real life people. They're both just all around great actors who give great performances, and they will always suck you into the movie. Like, you'll always be engaged whenever they're on screen. I also like some of the transitions that they did with Lorraine when she was going into her own little psychic connected world. That sentence didn't make any sense. Basically, when Lorraine connects to this other spiritual world, there are times when she can see things, obviously, which has been touched upon in other movies. I like the transitions that they used for those scenes. That's what I want to say. I think. That could be more confusing. Movie did good on transitions. As for the rest of the cast, we all do a good job in this movie, especially the family that you're supposed to be following, obviously. I mean, you're supposed to care about them, so it'd be a bit weird if they were terrible. However, this movie didn't focus on the family as much as they have in the previous films. This was more about Ellen Lorraine piecing together the clues and trying to prove the existence of demonic cults and possessions and curses. So it felt a little bit like the family element was pushed to the back a little bit, which I do think hindered the film there, because in reality we know that Ellen Lorraine Warren aren't going to die, because it's obviously from their case files. We know they don't die, we know they lived full lives and then they passed away from natural causes, or I believe they've both passed away now, which is a shame. I obviously went to Lorraine to consult about the movies, but because of that you know that those characters aren't in any real danger, and so that does relieve the tension for those particular characters, which is always a shame when it comes to movies like this. You're focusing on real people, so in that you know they're not going to go out in that film. I said that the tension that we do focus on around the family that do have this curse is pretty decent. But I didn't find myself caring about them as much as I did the families in the previous movies. Overall, guys, this definitely isn't a terrible movie by any means. It's definitely worth a watch if you enjoyed the Conjuring movies. However, it is very much a more subdued horror experience. It's not outright jump scares here and there everywhere, ghosts all doing the oogie boogie spoopy stuff. It feels very much like a mystery thriller. Ed and Lorraine Warren are going around to places to try and piece things together to prove a guy's innocence of a demonic possession. And while that story is very interesting and will keep you engaged for the runtime of the movie, which is only 2 hours long, which isn't necessarily all that long, especially when you take into consideration the last two movies, I believe, have been 2 hours, and then the second one was about 2 hours 20, I believe. A pretty standard runtime for a Conjuring movie. I never found myself bored. I just think because they focus a lot on that sort of mystery element, it did take away from the horror. Even though the tension building was there for the horror scenes, the jump scare at the end or the payoff overall just wasn't necessarily all that great. But definitely not a bad time in the cinema. I do highly recommend checking out this film if you enjoyed the Conjuring movies, especially for obviously Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's performances. They are great together, and I will say it's a good time in the movie if you're looking for a good horror movie to get yourself back into the flow of, you know, going to the pictures and getting that thrill of seeing a horror movie on the big screen. I recommend checking it out. Not a bad movie at all. It was well acted, well directed, the production design was great. Joseph Bishara, who I believe did the score for the previous two movies, returns to do the score for this movie. That's also great. Horror scores can always be hit and miss. They can either be used far too much or utilised just a little too little. Fucking bollocks, can't word. Ugh. Horror scores are always hit and miss. They either use it far too much so it takes away from all the tension, or they just don't use it enough. You need to find that fine sort of balance between the two. And personally, I think Joseph Bishara does a good job with that. Is it a score that I'll go out of my way to listen to? No, not really, but it suits the movie that it's for. And so I have to say, altogether, The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It is a pretty good time. So for all those reasons, I'm going to give The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It 3 stars. So, The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Have you guys seen it yet? What did you guys think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section below. Is that how I usually say my outro? I'm pretty sure that's how I usually say it. It's been a while. This feels great. Are you guys enjoying yourselves? Am I entertaining? Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you want to see more videos just like this one, subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks again for watching. As always, you guys are awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.